Hey guys, Dooley here with OCC, and I want to share with you my experience with a new throttle I've been using. So my last videos were about a year or so ago, and reason behind that was we moved. I went through a few other sticks. I tried several Virpil sticks and Throttle, the CM3 to be specific. Wasn't happy with those, got rid of them. I think I still have the Virpil that melted down on me, so might actually at some point show pictures of it or clip them into this video. But so I want to make this video because I found a throttle while I'm waiting for the VKB throttle to come out. I found a company that some of you I'm sure are aware of, but I was really surprised and happy to have found. The company is Winwing. They make several different combinations of helicopter flying controls, aircraft controls, throttles, sticks, you name it. Kind of surprised that I never heard of them up until recently, but I just happened upon their website and I started looking, and at first glance I was kind of concerned with the quality of the product, especially with the one I bought to test to myself was a $279 or $280 with freight or with shipping throttle. And the one I'm talking about is the one sitting here. It's the Winwing Orion with the FA18 grip on it. Now, the other thing that makes these kind of interesting and neat is they're modular. So you can take the same base and put an F16 grip on it. You can put the FA18, obviously, which is what I have on this one. And I think you could put the helicopter control on it as well. And I think there's a few other additional sticks or grips that will work with this throttle out there as well. Not really well versed on what they all are, but so far I've been really happy with the product. I bought probably the cheapest one that they had, or I should say the least expensive one, because I wasn't familiar with the company and I wanted to make sure. I've been burned 2 or 3 times on products that I bought from, on a hunch or a gut feeling that they'd be okay, and I turned out to be wrong. This one was about $280 with shipping. I got it in I think 10 days, 7 to 10 days, something like that, from China. And when I first got it, I was really impressed. And as you can see, the 2 boxes, they come in 2 different boxes. One is for the grip and one is for the base. Because the base is modular, you can change out different components. They ship them that way, they're separated. But I was really impressed with the packing, how they packed it, the items that came with it, the tools that they sent with it. I mean, there's not a lot to these as far as assembly, so they're pretty simple to assemble, but it's nice when they send the tool with it. I mean, I have a full set of tools. I'm a mechanic, or was a mechanic by trade for many years, so it's nice that they throw that stuff in there. And no, is it the highest quality of tools? No, but it'll get the job done. And I've used them several times to disassemble and assemble this unit for inspection, just get a better understanding of it. The one thing I will tell you is a lot of, just say Virpil, for instance, a lot of Virpil controls, you'll look in one joystick, and it happened to me. I had 3 different joysticks. Three different joysticks. The Constellation Alphas, the same ones, and 2 out of the 3 had different components in it. They same switches, but different manufacturers. So that leads me to believe that some of the issues that I saw with the Virpil was that it was just they couldn't get a consistent supplier for those switches and hats and buttons. So you were seeing a lot of variability there and a lot of quality control issues, right? So, which can be understandable. You go from a product that is handmade, maybe a dozen per month or per quarter or whatever it may be, to trying to ship hundreds per week. There's a big difference in quality control standards there and what you can actually control. So I give them leeway there, and I hope that at some point, and they probably have, but I hope that at some point they regain that reputation that they are charging for. I mean, they charge a premium for a product that I feel is very subpar. So with that being said, this HOTUS is, everything about it is very to the point. I don't know if that's a really good way to put it, but it's very utilitarian. It's not fluffy or pretty, and I mean, it's very nice, very well made. Don't get me wrong. The switches have very little, if none at all, if very little bit of side play. They're all very tactile. Everything's very tactile. Everything feels just really good. I mean, it's all metal construction, which is a huge plus for me, just because of the feel. But the levers, the cams, the detents that are built into the throttle itself, all the switches, and then beyond that, the modularity, of course, but beyond that, even the software. The software, to me, hands down beats both VKB software and Verbal by far, but VKB software and Verbal software. The Winwing software makes it to where you change, like, these controls are sliders or buttons or both. You can have them set up as both. So they slide a certain point and then they trip an action or a trigger. All your dials are really tactile, and turning it, you can't hear it, you could feel it. It's hard to describe, but it's very tactile. You have ridges at every point as you rotate the dial counterclockwise or clockwise. Then you have the press down, which is another button, and that's very tactile. You can hear that. This is a split throttle, if you obviously probably can see in the video. You split the throttle by simply rotating this pin lock up and over, and then you have your split throttle. The other thing that's nice about this is each one of these throttle sections, or each one of these throttle levers, has its own independent control or tension screw, so you can either loosen them up or tighten them up depending upon your application or how you feel. I mean, it's totally up to you. The other thing I like about them is that you could do this by hand. It's not something that you have to fumble with two hands and look for or try to figure out, reaching over in the dark and trying to flip a switch or pull a knob over. It's very easy to do with one hand. I mean, it's easy enough. It's got a magnetic insert inside, so it helps pull it over when you get it lined up. But it's easy enough that you don't even have to be looking at it to be able to do it. I mean, it's very, very simple. The other thing that I like about this stick is the weight and the construction. It's very close to the same, if not similar, footprint as the HOTUS Warthog, the Thrustmaster Warthog. It just doesn't have as many buttons and switches, right? So the only negative, and there's always going to be something that I'm going to pick out, on a product. The only concern or negative, I don't want to say it's a negative because it's just a concern of mine, is these wires here. And I'm sure you see these in the video, but these wires, the way because this is modular, you can take these grips off, I guess you'd call them grips, and put a different set on, the F16 for instance, and then you just reconnect these cables. The problem with these cables is that I don't like anything that flexes externally, and they don't bind, they don't pinch, and they don't hit anything, but they are flexing, constantly flexing. And with thousands of movements or rotations, I would imagine that it's gonna become a stress point. Now, that's left to be seen. I've only had these for 4 or 5 months now, and I've been flying with them for 4 or 5 months. But that is a concern of mine, and it may not be a valid concern. That's just my opinion and my feeling. I think that they could probably come up with a better way to design this connection. Maybe it's a way to keep the cost low, is to have them external. And maybe that's the only way they can keep the cost low. I don't know, but that's my only gripe, if you want to call it that. Beyond that, I mean, you cannot beat any of these buttons, functions, field. I mean, if you could hear the switches, everything's extremely positive. Even the hats. I mean, everything is just really well built. I mean, extremely well built. I'm really pleasantly surprised for $280, and that was 5 months ago. This may have changed because of some of the things that are going on in the world at this point, but as of 5 months ago, $280 is a steal for a product like this. If you're looking for a throttle or you want to upgrade from another throttle, I would seriously consider the Winwing Orion. I am going to be trying to get my hands on some of their flight sticks so that I can do some reviews on those, as well as the other. I think the other is the Taurus and the Super Taurus, which is their throttle. They're just upgraded, larger versions. The reasons I didn't pick the Taurus and the Super Taurus is it looks to me like they have a proprietary mounting system for your desk, and I'm going with the VKB mounting system at this point, unless something happens and I change my mind. But I do like the product, and I mean, as far as utilitarian and getting the job done and a quality build, it's hard to beat. If you want to talk about pretty but doesn't work worth a damn, then go get a Virpil. I say that, and I'm feel like a jerk saying it that way because I know there's a lot of people out there that have really good luck with their Virpils. I didn't, and my crew didn't. There's several of us that didn't have any good luck with Virpils. So please take that with a grain of salt. There's no ill intent meant. It's a point of frustration within my group. So thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to see more details about this, I could do a breakdown and show you some of the internal components within the throttle, if that would help you make a decision. Otherwise, I'm going to be putting out another video here in the next few days on the best and my favorite stick so far of all time, hands down the best stick that I've ever flown. It's literally the Ultimate by VKB, the MCG Ultimate. I'll be doing a video on it, and I love that stick. That's the best stick out there. So thanks again for stopping by, guys. Have fun. Fly safe.